Hey everyone, I'm Matt and I'm back with another layout update video. It's been a little while. I've gotten some stuff done. It's been a really kind of exciting summer and fall for me as far as model railroading goes. I've got a lot to share. So let's go ahead and get to it. I'm just going to give a quick tour of some of the updates on the layout itself, but we'll start with this sort of mock-up right here. As I was getting prepared for my first operating session, there was a few things I wanted to do to the layout just to tidy it up a little bit and make operations a little more interesting. In this case, there's going to be a large kind of scratch-built paper plant here, but until I get to that point where I'm ready to build that, I wanted to have something in its place just to kind of fill in the space, give us an idea of what the final size and shape of the final plant might end up being. So the afternoon of my first operating session, I think I mocked this up in like a half hour out of foam core board, and it does a pretty good job of filling in the space and kind of giving you an idea of what the final version of things will end up looking like. Speaking of giving people ideas about things, another thing I did for my first operating session was to print out these kind of cards here that represent different areas of the prototype that I'm going to be modeling on my layout. So here's a couple of the bridges that will be going over this river scene here. And you know, because I'm not that far along in my modeling process yet, having these kind of photos here to show off these bridges I think is a really great way of doing that. And then as well, I've got these bulkhead flat cars which are going to get log bunks on them eventually, and then utility pole loads. That's kind of a big modeling effort, and there was no way I was going to have those ready in time for my first op session. So I printed out these are just paper prints that I laminated and then kind of taped together, and they do a really good job of giving a good representation of what the car will eventually look like, and then the load that goes on the car will eventually look like as well. As far as scenery goes, I did spend quite a bit of time on this swing gate here, trying to make the scenery look nice. I know it doesn't look maybe a lot different from the last time you saw it, but I did add some bushes and some kind of trees. These are super trees that I painted and added to the layout. The big thing, I did spend quite a bit of time here. One of the big things I did was work on just color and texture throughout this. So you can kind of see the green that's starting to poke up here along the dried grasses. I filled them with different dried grass colors as well, trying to get just that look and that color and that texture that I'm looking for out of this scene. This is an early spring. The snow has thawed, the grass is just starting to peek out again, and we're starting to get a little bit of color back in the Pacific Northwest. The green grass is where I spent the most time. I tried static grass, I tried ground foam, I tried painting. You know, it's hard to kind of get that sort of fresh, new kind of look when it comes to that green grass, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out right now, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this for now. I'll look at it, I'll scratch my head about it a little bit more, and probably return to it at some point. But in an effort to kind of keep moving forward, we will leave things looking just like they do right now. Ballast turned out pretty great. I'm very happy with that. The colors turned out very nice as well. Just very prototypical to the area, very much what I was looking to do. So I'm very happy. That was a good success. So now it's just a matter of just kind of taking some of these scenery techniques and starting to work its way around to the rest of the scenic part of the layout and get that kind of looking good as well. Another thing I did, you might remember about a year ago, I purchased this locomotive here. I was looking for a nice kind of signature locomotive for the layout, and I thought that this would look really good on the layout. My intention is to patch this and add a bunch of details and weather it up so that it'll be patched for the MFR and be sort of really recognizable that way. but I wanted to add a lot of extra features to this locomotive. And I had done some DCC and speaker and capacitor install in the past, and I nearly melted a decoder doing so. So I knew that I really needed a professional to do some work for me on the locomotive. So I reached out to Georgia Bigfoot Trains, who you might know from Tim Garland of the Seaboard Central. He does all of his installs. And I asked him if he would help, and he was more than happy to, and he did an excellent job. So what he did was he added a Decoder Buddy board to replace the stock Athearn board, a Luxon 5 decoder, a power pack capacitor, and then he added the additional ground lights and rear ditch lights, which was really great. He did a really excellent job with those. We'll take a look at this. You can see how he even matched the paint as well. He also set it up to work with my proto throttle, and then gave me a call and spent half hour with me on the phone setting up my proto throttle to make sure that the two spoke to each other really well, which is awesome. So he was really great along the whole way. Really great. Took a lot of photos along the process of putting everything together, and just kept me informed, and it was really great to work with. So I highly recommend Georgia Bigfoot Trains. I'll be using him again in the future. But let's go ahead and turn this on and listen to what it sounds like and see some of these lighting features. Yep, really happy with how this turned out. In addition to everything you've seen on the layout itself, I've had a lot of other kind of fun model railroad related things happen over the last few months. First of all, I was on a couple of podcasts. I was on the Second Section podcast as a member of a roundtable discussion about freelance model railroads. And I gave a little mini presentation about my layout and some thoughts about incorporating the prototype into your freelance efforts. That was a lot of fun. The Second Section podcast is one of my absolute favorite podcasts. The community on Facebook is also excellent. I'm going to leave a link to their show so you can find that in the description below, so look for that. I was also invited to be a guest on the Around the Layout podcast, and that was a whole lot of fun. It's one of my favorite podcasts related to model railroading. Ray's just a great interviewer and great host, and it was a lot of fun to go on that show and talk trains. My show premiered the week after John Parker's show did, and so it was a little like, hey, here's John Parker and all the awesome stuff he's doing with his layout, and next week it's me. So I will leave a link to both those shows in the description below, and feel free to check those out. Subscribe to those guys. Again, great shows, great communities built around them. I was very, very happy to be a part of that. I also, if you've been paying attention to this channel, you probably saw that I was working on a switchless building tool called Ops Buddy, and it's been, who'd have thought at the beginning of the year that by the end of the year I would have my own switchless tool that I would have made myself. It was certainly something I wasn't expecting to do, but having worked through that first operating session and having really sort of focused on what I was looking to get out of on this layout, it became clear that maybe it was something that I needed to tackle for myself. And I'm very happy that I was able to accomplish that and get to a point where I could share with others. I know people who have used it have reached out to me and said that it's been a big help for them. And so I'm just really excited about that. I may have a cool announcement regarding the Ops Buddy tool here in the future. So let's stick around for that. Well, I think that's all for today. If I keep talking, I'm going to start rambling. So we'll call it good there. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. Check out my Facebook group. I'm doing a lot of posting there these days. Just go to mfrailroad.com. That'll take you right there. And yeah, thanks a lot for stopping by, and I'll see everyone in another video.